In that moment, Ryomen Suguna had a deep, profound sense of confusion, for he did not sense but one presence in those accursed azure eyes. Rather, he saw, he felt, he even recognized the body of the man who he had slain and buried with his own hands, but at the same time, he had recognized the man who had created the beast that tore into his chest. What's up, guys? Uncle Pencil here, and here we are to do a nice little breakdown and discussion on Gojuku. Satoru Jaku? Big Jaku? Little Jaku? Six-Eyes Jaku? Jaku Daku. Let's have a nice little discussion on whether or not the hallucinatory vision, if it's a hallucinatory vision, or if it's a body, or whatever, whether it could be Big Jaku. Because I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I think there's a whole bunch to talk about with it, so let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, 260 ends not with a cliffhanger, ironically enough. Well, actually kind of a cliffhanger. It ends here. Remember, this, I don't know why it's currently being listed like this, but this is the end of the chapter. This is actually the final page. This is the penultimate page of the chapter, the second to last one. But regardless, this has been what's causing the uproar all over the community, over the internet, all over everywhere. Is Gojo Satoru back? Has he returned? I have my own opinions on that. But, once again, while I would like this to just be a vision, because Gojo is the one thing haunting Suguna's nightmares, and he feels he's finally close to the verge of actually perishing as he gets his heart scooped out by Yuji Todori, regardless of all that, let's go with the idea that this is Gojuku. Is it even possible? Why would he do it? And what kind of narrative impact would that have? For the first biggest one, the biggest thing that has people against this, and the biggest reason why people think this is like the least likely thing that could happen, is because yeah, we do literally see him get pierced through the head. And while he does continue to yap, and we don't actually see Yuta finish the job before the yap session is done, it's presumable that Yuta did not teleport all the way back to Shinjuku before, like, hopefully Omni-slashing that bad boy. Hopefully Kenny's brain is in actual pieces. And notably, Kenny did send the merger away to Sukuna in the first place, right? Why would Kenny give up the merger if Kenny could just keep the merger in his belly and just keep on moving? Especially if he could will the merger in the body of Satoru Gojo. There's no reason not to, right? Especially another reason why, another reason why a lot of people are so confident that this can't be the case is this. Ui's been taking the bodies away. Ui. And in this one case, we see Ui and Kirara both here grabbing Higuruma's body and then vanishing away. So, thusly, how would Kenny even get his hands on it? Like, for what reason would Kenjaku be able to get his hands on Gojo's body when A, the man does not even have hands anymore, considering he'd just be a walking, talking brain, if even walking, if even living, if even braining, but also there's no way he can get access to the body. They're presumably all getting taken back to Shoko, right? So why would that even happen? And those are good points. Those are fantastic points. Those are wonderful points. But it's not entirely too impossible because of a little something that Gege likes to abuse called the unknown factor. You want to know one of the biggest unknowns in the series, despite this character being so fundamentally important to its structure that they could literally be argued to be the in-narrative author of Jujutsu Kaisen, like basically a Gege self-insert? We have no idea how his body transfer works. A lot of people, myself included, have just headcanon that he can literally headcanon, like take his dome piece off, cut another person's dome piece off, lift their dome piece up, take their brain out, and then just whoop, and then drop their brain inside the next body. Because, it seems to make sense. We know the brain is in there, we've seen him take the top off, we've seen other people take the top off, it's a top. Like, you just unscrew it, take the brain out, put it in the next body. But we don't actually know. We have no clue. We know it's a cursed technique. We know it's not innate, because, like, this isn't Naruto. You can't pop out your brain and just put it in another person's body, right? Right? Hopefully. But with that being the case, we don't know how it works. Also, fun fact, we don't actually know when or where or what or why this body did what this body did. As in, yeah, this one time Ui comes with Kirara to lift the body and then teleport out. But hey, there's a whole other opportunity where Ui comes by himself, all alone, unguarded, to pick up Kusakabe's body. And it's not like Kiwara would be busy. What are they doing? Why wouldn't they be here to help pick up Kusakabe or any of the other bodies? So we know it's possible that Ui will just go by himself, exposing himself to danger, and I presume picking up the bodies on their own. But also, we still, speaking of the unknown factor, to this day, don't actually know how Mei and Ui survived this. Y'all remember this fight, right? I don't blame you if you don't, because considering we don't get to see it, neither in the manga or the anime, but this is a fight that's set up. After the smallpox deity battle, Mei and Ui are full ready to fight Kenjaku, and they live. And, like, notably, we know that there's actually some interaction there, because in another chapter, Mei states that Kenjaku blocked Bird Strike, meaning they did actually have a little bit of a skirmish here. Or else, like, why would Kenny know about Bird Strike? Or why would Mei have an opinion on Kenny deflecting a Bird Strike? If he never did. But he did. And they survived this. Notably, the next time we see Mei and Ui after this, they're in Malaysia. They dipped. We don't know how they survived this. And we know Ui, fully capable of going to get the bodies by themselves. And we also just don't know how Kenny's body transfer works. So, Gege could take all those unknown factors, have it so that Kenny set up a binding vow with Mei and Ui. He could have had them to rights and been like, hey, I could slaughter you right here and now. But I think the boy has an interesting technique. The ability to teleport. Let's say you owe me a favor. One day, many days down the line, if a body were to come up, bring it to me. If you break this binding vow, you know what will happen. We don't know what would happen, but presumably Kenny would know and they would know, or not want to risk it. So then Kenny gets the body of Satoru Gojo. However, once again, there's a big question. How effective would that body even be? Because don't the six eyes immediately vanish once a body perishes? Notably, Kenny didn't just, like, pop the six eyes out of the previous users and they never incarnated again. No, they just show up again. Literally entirely autonomously. So, how effective would that body be? It would be pretty useless, right? Because the body without the six eyes wouldn't be able to use the Limitless properly. So sure, a Limitless Jaku would go absolutely crazy. He'd probably use the technique even better than Gojo did, based on how he used Curse Spirit Manipulation better than Suguru Geto did. But at the same time, it's not necessarily the most hardline thing that he could even use it as effectively as Gojo due to lack of experience, and also the six eyes wouldn't be there. And I would agree. However, once again, purely playing advocate here, we don't know how the six eyes cycle of fate is working right now. For those who wonder what I mean, remember, Destiny's broken. Like, absolutely Toji Fushiguro broke it. It doesn't work. This is not meant to happen. The whole idea of the merger even being a possibility is not meant to happen. Tengen was not meant to evolve past humanity and become a pseudo-cursed thing. Kenny was not supposed to get this far. Satoru Gojo's not supposed to be cooked in the first place. Destiny's shattered, so we don't know if any of the rules still uphold. The fact that Kenny was able to get as far as he did, the fact that Gojo was made as strong as he was, the fact that the six eyes and Star Plasma Vessels ended up being useless as safeguards for Tengen, all that is gone. It's shattered. So maybe the six eyes could linger around. It's not entirely impossible. All Gege needs to introduce is that fate has been broken, and that's been a long-held concept for a minute now. We've been known fate shattered. It is not the same fate that the Jujutsu Kaisen world. Destiny itself is broken by the hands of the man who broke free of the system, Toji Fushiguro. So, bada bing, bada boom. All the unknown factors, from the unknown of how Kenny's technique works, to the unknown of the results of this battle, to the unknown of Ui and whether or not he got Gojo's body by himself when Sugino wasn't looking, or when they were with Kiwara. All the unknowns could hypothetically lead to a Gojuku. Alright? I'm not saying it's impossible. I could see Gege doing it. Question is why, though? Here's the thing. I'm a Kenjaku Kramer. I love Big Jaku. Call me a Jaku Jacker, if you will. He's still, honestly, pure archetype-wise, he's probably my favorite villain type in JJK. Dynamic-wise, I still think it's like Sukuna. Now, just with all the time he's had with Yuji and all the other character interactions he's had. And overall, it's Sukuna. But, like, I still really like Kenny as a concept. And once again, like I said before, he is basically an in-narrative author. He basically is a Gege self-insert. He's the reason the story is the way it is. So I do ultimately think him getting beaten in the way that he did with no real crazy final battle, just, Takaba into Todo, into Yuta, into beheading, is a little bit whack. So I could see Gege bringing Kenny back for that, to give them a more climactic end. But at the same time, Once again, a big issue with Big Jaku is that his dynamics are kind of weak. Choso's gone now. Does Itadori... he knows, but does he even know? There's no real dynamic between Itadori and Kenjaku. They're kind of just, tangentially related because Kenjaku birthed them. That's about it. There's no real character levels or character depth to truly and properly explore there, like there are with Sukuna. Sukuna and Itadori obviously have a really interesting villain dynamic and hero dynamic to explore. So that's interesting. Kenny coming back and taking the role as the final villain, it's neat. Just like I think the merger is neat as a concept, but you have to do a lot of groundwork building to actually build up the dynamic between Itadori and Kenjaku in comparison to the work that doesn't have to be done because it's already been done between Itadori and Sukuna. It's one of the main reasons why I'm still iffy on the merger happening, not just because of the world drastic scale of the crazy implications that could be, but also, the idea that the merger just isn't a character. Tengen, while a active character, is going to be overwhelmed by countless, millions of human souls, and also just doesn't really have a dynamic with Yuji or Maki or Yuta or any of our surviving cast and crew. Just, a dynamic like Sukuna has. So, Kenny kind of has that same problem. He's more interesting because he's an actual sentient talking character. And notably, I do think it would be hilarious and sort of cathartic. A real spit in Fate's face if after literally debatably 1,000 or more years of planning and the world itself denying Kenjaku the power and the ability to create the merger through the use of the Six Eyes, he gets to wield the Six Eyes ultimately and take over and do exactly what he wants to do. I do think that could be interesting as a funny twist of fate, kind of like how I think Toji Fushiguro sort of acts like Ganondorf in Twilight Princess, a divine prank, something that the world kind of just did to stab itself in the foot. The idea of a heavenly restriction user with zero cursed energy that's only happened twice and only once organically. Yeah, I think it could be neat. But once again, it's the lack of character work. And the big issue, the big reason why I'm hesitant of Gojo coming back at all, how do you beat him? That's the big thing. We already have the merger looming over our heads. Whether Sukuna absorbs it, whether he activates it, that is already something that's big, hefty, and looming over our cast and crew. Yuta's not in the best shape right now. Presumably still in half, unless another theory of what this is ends up being true. Maki, while alive... I love Maki. Not a merger fighter. I don't see it, especially if it's anywhere near to the scale of the monster that we saw the merger hypothetically being. The whole case with Yuji Itadori, while he could maybe punch the boundaries of the millions of souls, he's also super duper fatigued. I'm not exactly sure if the merger's the thing he can handle right now. Say Megami does come back because Yuji saves him somehow, he's likely going to be extremely fatigued and down a bunch of Shikigami. And also probably brain damaged. And also probably soul damaged. He's in danger. Our cast and crew isn't ready to fight the merger, which is the other established threat for the narrative. Who is another issue that could come back if they came back and would probably shatter the narrative? Gojaku. He'd just be too strong. Heck, even base Gojo coming back would be too strong right now. Look at Sukuna. Look at him. He's having his heart scooped out. And his soul messed up. He's in absolute dire straits. Bro can't even tag Todo. I think, does he even tag Todo once this entire chapter? He doesn't. He doesn't land a single hit on Todo this entire chapter. Todo! And admittedly, this is a crazily amped Todo with Billy Wait, but still, that's a thing. So, introducing a Gojaku, while it would be a cool way to sort of bring the character back in, bring in the author self-insert in a way, bring in this culmination, and maybe even build a dynamic between Sukuna, Yuji, and Kenjaku as this final big trio in order to discuss the implications of fate and destiny and the breaking of the rules and how truly fundamentally different the Jujutsu world has become. All that can be interesting. But I ultimately, as much as I love Big Jaku, I don't think it's worth it. I think Gege sort of played their card by dropping Big Jaku in the way that they did, by having the merger be transferred over to Sukuna, by doing everything in their power to make sure that Jaku got so we could focus on Sukuna. I think we've invested. I think we've laid it down. And I think there's enough stopgaps in the way that going out of your way to make Gojaku wouldn't... Like, I don't think it would be the most... It would be weirdly narratively satisfying. Like I said, you can go with the whole idea of breaking a fate, the idea that we don't know about Jaku, we don't know about the end result of this fight, we don't know about anything to do with Yui Ui and their whole teleportation. Like, we don't know enough that the pieces are there. It's why I'm not so fully against it in terms of just concept, but the execution, while I do trust Gege, they've been managing to execute quite well. I'm not exactly sure how we write a story where we expect our cast to win. If you think JJK is going to have a dark ending, then this is fine. It's absolutely fine. There's no issues at all. If you think JJK is meant to have a dark ending, then what's the problem here at all? Kenny just comes back, starts the merger, looks at it, thinks it's neat, and then gets got by the merger, and then the story of JJK ends. But hey, personally, as much as I love the darker aspects of Jujutsu Kaisen, I still ultimately believe this is a shonen manga. It's going to be a bittersweet ending, but it's going to be a little bit of sweetness in there. And ultimately, a Gojaku just doesn't really involve any of that. There's just no hope to defeat a Gojaku. He'd be too powerful, too knowledgeable, too dangerous, too smart, too juicy, too jacked, too scrumdiddlyumptious. I just don't really see the vision. As much as I think the vision could be intriguing. Here's the thing. You would need time. Time that I don't think the series / Gege is willing to give in order to redevelop a dynamic between Itadori and Kenjaku proper, to hypothetically build on the relationship between Sukuna and Kenjaku proper, hypothetically deal with the whole implications of the breaking of destiny and breaking of fate. You have to bring back in concepts that haven't been mentioned in forever. Like, remember, Sukuna's kind of a demon? Like, I don't know, he's the fallen? Or the disgraced one? For reasons? I don't know. We've never got an explanation for that. Angel mentions the whole idea of a god, but we don't get any exaggeration on that. And I don't think we ever will, because I don't know, maybe we will, but that's the thing. So much extra work would need to be done for this to be Gojaku, and while we know it's not beyond Gege to take unknown factors such as Toto's condition, the status of their ability, and their location, to bring back in new form and fashion, and evolve them in 15 different ways that can reincorporate them into the narrative in an interesting way, I think the cost of Gojaku narratively isn't worth what we would have to sell to get it. We would have to sell the desecration of Gojo's body. We'd have to sell the breaking of fate. We'd have to sell a whole new character dynamic. We'd have to sell so much in order to pay for this cost. And as much as I love Big Jaku, I don't think the cost is good enough. But that's what I think. That's what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you want Gojaku? Do you think Gojaku is a neat idea? Do you think the loose pieces could come together to make something really interesting? Do you think JJK has the time to really develop Gojaku as a villain, sort of playing off the ideas of Gojo and Kenjaku and the ideas of Jujutsu itself? Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. If you've made all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave Fusion. Leave Fusion in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as little as $1 month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as little as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, ad-free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, the link to my Ko-Fi is in the description down below if you want to drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, or any support at all to drastically help your boy out. I would always appreciate it. But now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: O'Connor Plays, Greyhound, At Kids Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, King Sukuna, NMA, Real Rare, Paris Arnold, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 members: Super Gamer Q, Steron, Sean, Sammy, Oexian, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Josh Brown, and A+A. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 member, Autumn Mornings Lazo. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha and Jay Warrior. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 patrons, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami. And I'd like to give a final gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.